what impact it plays in you guys achieving your results. So the ego is a really interesting one. It's not something that I always see being an issue with clients, but it's definitely one that is there most of the time with any sort of male that I'm working with. And not all guys, and some females have it, egos. But I'll give you an example. So myself, I've never done this before, talking on a camera for, as you can probably tell, for making content to help other people. But a previous version of myself would never have done this because my ego would have been too big, and I was worried, are people gonna think bad things about me? Are people gonna, Paris doesn't talk very well, Paris is jabbering on, Paris is ugly. But getting past that and having no ego has allowed me to explore sort of a different sort of avenue of a pathway of reaching out to clients and helping you guys achieve your results. And it's fucking awesome. But I think that's a really clear example of an impact ego can play. Another example is, say, I'm going to the gym, right? And I know myself, I've got bench press, and if I go too heavy on bench press, my shoulder plays up. But, if I go light enough, I get significantly more results. I feel the target muscle that I'm activating in my chest gets more stimulation. I go in there and I'm benching, right? Doing bench press. I can't go light. Everyone thinks I'm the trainer here. I gotta go heavy. I've got a big ego. Boom, bum, shoulder out of it. Got to have surgery. Extreme example, but I feel like a lot of us have egos and we're not able to progress forwards and grow more if you don't let your walls down and leave your ego at the door. Okay, ego prevents growth. So normally when we have an ego, I almost keep saying ego, when we have an ego, we're unable to grow because we have some sort of deep insecurities within us that we don't want to reveal, certain weaknesses to other people, in fear that they will talk badly about us, look down on us, and we don't want that. So we create this sort of false sort of shield that, we're here, create sort of false betrayal of ourselves. So we don't want other people to see our insecurities that we're holding sort of hiding deep down within us. But man, it significantly affects people's results. You can't, if you have an ego, you don't want to learn more, right? Because a lot of the times when you need to learn something, you need to sort of have self-reflection and admit that you're not where you want to be. Let's say a physique, for example, right? Say I'm starting a new program and I want to get stronger, I want to lose weight. But if I have an ego, I don't want to admit to myself that I've got too much body fat to lose. I don't want to admit to myself that I'm not where I want to be strength-wise. I don't want to admit to myself that I'm lazy and I've got no discipline. So therefore, I'm never going to grow. Because if you don't have self-reflection and you can't admit to yourself that you're not putting in the work, you're not where you want to be, how are you going to sort of implement those sort of steps moving forwards to achieve those goals? So it's really interesting. It's probably one of the biggest roadblocks I see with certain people that, get in the way of achieving their goals. And, I feel like, on the other hand, a bit of ego is really important. You gotta have a bit of an ego to have fucking pride for yourself, be competitive with yourself. But, it's a balance. Too much ego can really get in the way of moving forwards and growing as a person. If you're not where you want to be in any endeavor, first of all, you have to admit that you're lacking, something. Maybe you're behind on studying, or behind in school or work. You're not getting promoted, or in the gym you're not losing body fat. You first of all have to admit to yourself you're not putting in the work required to get there. So I think understanding where you're at take self-reflection, and in order to do that, to have self-reflection, you can't have an ego. Because without self-reflection, you can't fully understand where you're at, realistically where you're at, and then put things in place and make a decision, make a game plan, and boom, attack it, move forwards and grow. Interesting one, guys. Really, really interesting one. Yeah, this is not going to apply to everyone on here, but I just think it's an interesting one, maybe self-reflecting, sort of thinking, am I doing something sort of egocentrically which is preventing me from moving forwards and achieving my goals? Okay, have a great day, guys.